Welcome back to Open Line. We have Tim Takis with us, elder law attorney. He's answering your questions. A lot of good calls tonight. People caring for an elderly loved one at home, and all kinds of different questions. Let's go back to the phones here. Let's go to Carl. Hello, Carl.
Yes, I'm here.
Go right ahead.
A few years ago, I stumbled into something I thought was an easy solution for moving monies to an adult nephew that I have, and it's called a POD, payable upon death. And I set it up with the bank, and within a few weeks, all of a sudden, I'm getting checks with both his name and my name on the checking account, which was not what I wanted to do. Can you address POD? Is that a solution? Is that some way to work with getting your money that, if you were to die suddenly, I'm 62.
Yeah, and that works.
The money would automatically transfer over to the person that you designate as a POD?
Yeah, Carl, that's really very common. And sometimes, I have my chance to tell about how property passes when you die. And it passes generally in three ways. One is by operation of law, which is often the way assets are being are titled, or sometimes even by inheritance. It just automatically comes to people. Like if people die owning real estate, it automatically goes to their heirs. And you don't have to make any do to happen. You don't have to do anything to make that happen. Another way that property passes at death is by a writing, which is of course the Altima will.
Right.
The little postage stamp, Altima. The 3 words, shortest will. And then the third way is by contract. And a contract is like a life insurance beneficiary designation, a retirement plan beneficiary designation, a payable on death beneficiary designation on a CD or a bank account. Or if it's a brokerage account, it's called a TOD, which is a transfer on death. And basically all that means is that you die, the person who's supposed to get that money, goes to the brokerage or goes to the bank and says, you have a contract that says you're going to pay me, when Daddy died, and so he's dead, now pay me. And so they have a contractual obligation with their depositor, their customer, to pay that person. And it works. Now, I'm a little bit discouraged to hear Carl say that suddenly he winds up getting, an account that has that person's name on it, because that's
not the way it's supposed to work.
Definitely not what's supposed to happen. Not if they're named as a POD. Now, if they're a co-owner, maybe, certainly they would put another owner on there, but...
So hopefully you can get that fixed.
But that's worth looking at, because you don't want to get a misunderstanding there where it might wind up being a problem.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Carl. Let's go to Lee. Hello, Lee. Lee, are you there?
This is Louise.
Louise. I'm sorry, Louise. Go right ahead.
A few years ago, my husband passed away, and he had set us up with AARP, United Healthcare insurance, the 20%, the gap insurance, and I wanted to know, is that considered long-term care insurance? Okay,
so Louise's question is that when she's now a widow, apparently, and when her husband had set up a AARP Medicare, it sounds like it's a Medicare supplement, but it doesn't sound like it's long-term care insurance, where she's talking about a 20% or whatever. But the easiest way to look at that would be is because I know that AARP does have a long-term care, or has in the past had a long-term care insurance product that's, I think it was available through them. But she would certainly want to look at the certificate to show what coverages that she has, and it's going to say right there whether it's a Medicare supplement or not. And if she has any doubt, then that would be worth checking into, because we certainly don't want that to happen.
Right.
Where she doesn't know what she has. Now, and she didn't mention it, but there's also, she's paying a premium for that. So we know that she's not getting that for free. So there would be either a monthly or a quarterly premium or something where, there is a premium that's being paid for that policy. So she wants to look at her, and likewise for long-term care insurance, because, you don't pay up on long-term care insurance. So she would be, if it was a long-term care insurance policy, she would be paying a premium on that as well. So
Okay. All right, Louise, thank you for that call. Someone asked about an irrevocable trust.
They did, yes.
And I wanted to get to that. We have about 2 minutes left.
Right, and so and I remember he was asking about, okay, he's got his parents are in Michigan, and he was told somehow that he needs to set up an irrevocable trust. And basically what that means is kind of like what we were talking about earlier, that if you want to give away money or property, don't just give it to your kids. But if you're trying to protect it, that's when you use a trust. And if it's an irrevocable trust, there are certain types of irrevocable trusts that are safe to use when you're trying to qualify for the VA pension benefit. But that's when you really start wandering into murky waters that you definitely need counsel that knows what they're doing. And that's why I hope that he will contact the office, and we'll give him some names of some lawyers in Michigan that maybe can give him some guidance in that area.
Very good questions tonight.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll give information on how to get a hold of you, and that will be good stuff. So we'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.